Conspiracies. Conspiracies, and I like the word pollution, but conspiracies in general, and the challenges with these things. What conspiracies generally do is bring something you can't talk to in a conversation. You can't answer it. There's no way to work around those magic words and the fluff that brings. Um, so I don't coach the world in conspiracies because I've never found one. I've found business and processes and corporations and people doing things guided by the laws that are around us. Always, always. So you hear words like HARP, you hear words like chemtrails, you hear words like Illuminati, you hear words and all the pontification that runs around those words. But when you go look at the theatrics, past the theatrics of a conversation like that, there's reality. This is where a lot of my nuclear friends I've walked away from for too bombastic, too many conspiracies, when if you put some effort into it, you can follow through the processes. You can find out how the laws were manipulated and written to favor one group over another. How over decades we've funded faith is part of civil defense activities. That's kind of where a lot of this started or came back in because faith was starting to lose money. So we funded churches with civil defense basements, with shelters and stoves, and we helped build a lot of the communities out there to harden the communities to make them strong. So when you bring conspiracies into these conversations, you bring what do you want us to do about that? A conspiracy is this floofy thing that exists between beliefs and yet laws and the enforcement of the laws, the rules of society, are what have made these choices and decisions. Men blame supernatural things for their choices. They claim supernatural knowledge that makes them special and you should listen to them. Some knowledge of hidden. The fact is, Masonic lodges exist. Clubs and groups and organizations get together and talk about things and do things. And inside of that is politics and power. And one very powerful group talking can do more than 100 small groups talking. So divide and conquer. And if you're really wealthy, you find these wealthy wannabes and you egg them on and you fund and finance them and you let these conspiracies go and you look past them, and all of a sudden a religion is built up around nonsense and funded by the federal government, funded by our tax dollars and our time, and roads and highways and police force and federal tax dollars, state tax dollars go to this building armies, private armies, because we're so divided. It's not a conspiracy. It's how shit works. It's politics. It's these politicians that are after personal wealth. That's all they can see, and they're so afraid of losing it. They're so afraid of living in a trailer park that they'll condemn the people in the trailer parks to live there forever. They'll pay $800 a day per person to house immigrants with no facilities, no. This is our nation. This is what this stuff has done to us. We torture. Dick Cheney, Bush brought torture back to our nation. Our armies lost respect amongst other nations. People saw that and watched, and that little bit of trust was eroded in our nation. And now we have Trump and people apologizing. Apologists. This is where this apologetics comes from, is trash like this. Excuse me. In the next life, you'll pay for this. Fuck you. Pardon my French.